who are huge fans of yours. I mean, you have a very huge fan base, not just in your home state, but also across the country. But I was also asked by some people to ask you certain questions, and here's one of them. You voted for 245I on more than one occasion. What was your reason?
245?
245I. That was the one where the illegal alien pays a $1,000 fine and changes their status to legality.
Oh, I don't think I voted for. Last summer the only bill I voted for was the immigration bill last summer that didn't get into the Senate. No, I didn't know. That would be amnesty. What you're talking about?
Oh, so you didn't. I went to Numbers USA. I checked on it when I got some email from people, and it said on there that you voted for an extension on it 3 times. But
oh, okay. Does this have to do with the people who come in under certain visas?
No, this
working.
Was, no, this was not. This was not a visa thing. This is a loophole that was there that said that people could pay a $1,000 fine and have their status changed. And according to the record, that's what it says. But if you said you didn't, we will take.
Well, I'll double check it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not my position. If it's
it doesn't sound like it.
No, my position. I just stated it. But I would certainly, do some checking on that because I've never recall an up or down vote on something like that.
Okay. Troops on the border. How do you feel about that?
I'd prefer to have the civilian guard, the border patrol. But I think the guard units have the authority and the right, and yet they're hauled off into foreign countries, and they're not there to do it. But I'm old-fashioned. I don't think the federal government should be in control of our National Guard unit. As a matter of fact, we're moving in that direction with the suspension of the Insurrection Act, where the president now can nationalize them without even a governor's permission. So I would prefer the border guard to be civilian, but I would let the state governors use their militias.
So you wouldn't have a problem with National Guard on the border?
No.
Okay. What about foreign workers? You think we should increase the number of foreign workers that we allow on H-1Bs and H-2s and these other things?
Well, if you do, they're legal, and I think on an individual basis you can look at that. But that's also been corrupted as well. That principle I endorse, that you can make things legal and let people come in under certain conditions. But I understand a lot of people come in under those conditions and then they become illegal and they don't go back. So I think if you have the border protection and you get rid of the incentives, then you can have these special visa programs where people can come in, but that would be legal immigration. I still think that if you had all things equal, if we had a healthy economy here, there would be needs for some workers, in this country, and I don't have a problem with having some people come here to work. What I have a problem with is subsidizing them and have them get in front of the line and become illegal and become citizens and have it cost us a lot of money.
But I'm sure you wouldn't want these H-1Bs to take jobs that Americans were willing to do, I mean.
No, and that's why I say you have to look at it on an individual basis, but I wouldn't reject the principle in its entirety, because I think that but I also recognize that it's abused and it's a whole mess right now. But if all things were equal and we had a fantastically healthy economy, we have a weak economy now because of our financial system, our monetary system, our over-regulated system, and our exporting of our jobs. All our good jobs have gone overseas, and we're hurting. So that's why this problem is so much greater. It's because of the conditions that encourage all our jobs going overseas, the NAFTA-type approach and WTO and the many things. But I think it's a big monetary problem as well.
Absolutely. Congressman, we got about 1 minute. We're coming up on a hard break. I'm not going to keep any longer. We appreciate you coming on with us. And like I said, you got a lot of folks out here who believe in you. You got about 1 minute. Give us what you want the public to know.
Well, the main thing is I emphasize the Constitution.
You are well known for that, too.
And that's the only oath we take. And my job is to read the Constitution, to try to understand it the best I can, and then stick to it. And it is tough. Sometimes when the whole Congress is oblivious to what the Constitution says, on occasion I vote by myself. Some people say way too often, but I do it because out of principle I believe it's the right thing to do.
Well, if you're voting with the Constitution, then nobody can ever fault you for that.
No, and fortunately I think the people, respect that, and that's where I'm getting my support. The people in Washington are annoyed by it because it sort of points out that if I'm doing the right thing, it's sort of saying very, very quietly but loudly without shouting that, you guys aren't following the rules. And, if you want the federal government to take over everything, you ought to amend the Constitution. One time, this country wanted to abolish the drinking of alcohol. That we had more respect for the Constitution back then. They amended the Constitution for that. But think of all the things the federal government does right now without even thinking about the Constitution. They just do it. They write a law or ignore the law. They have a court ruling, or the president writes a executive order, or just anything. And we're living in a time where there's no rule of law.
Congressman Ron Paul, folks. Congressman, I appreciate you coming on with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.